Killing a Hive Lord all by yourself, easily handling the new Rupture enemies, dominating the cave missions, and some great tips for dealing with dragon roaches. These are just some of the tips we're going to be going over in today's video. So let's not even do any further of an intro, and let's start off with the new Rupture strain, also known as the Burrowers. These units will be best dealt with by utilizing plasma weapons. Both the Scorcher and the Purifier were already regarded as the two best weapons overall in Helldivers 2, and this new strain definitely did not shake up that meta. Plasma weapons will deal explosive damage, which is the only way to force these bugs to come out of their holes before they even get close to you. You can also utilize weapons such as the Eruptor or Crossbow, but the problem is generally these ricochet when you shoot at an angle, so it'll be a little bit more awkward and less consistent, but still great pit. Having this in mind, if you're not bringing an explosive weapon or an explosive damaging grenade, a grenade launcher or something like that, you're likely going to be having a real bad time. Another great solution for these enemies, specifically the Rupture Warrior, is utilizing fire and gas. Both of these don't actually make them unburrow, but they do go right through the ground, which means if you point your flamethrower at them through the wall as they're making their way to you, you can burn them to a crisp before they even reach you. Same will apply for the sterilizer, gas grenades, and other sources of fire and gas. Weapons aside, as far as backpack goes, against Rupture Strain, either the Warp Pack, Supply Pack, or Shield Generator Pack or something along those lines are pretty much necessary against Rupture Warriors due to how they're currently designed. They will almost always get a guaranteed hit on you, especially while you're overwhelmed by other bugs. So the Warp Pack to get away after you get hit, or the Supply Pack to stim as much as you want, or the Shield Generator Pack to just straight up tank a hit are three amazing backpack choices. If you have absolutely nothing, another interesting thing you can do against a Rupture Warrior is when you notice they're about to catch up to you, you run at them instead of away from them. And most of the times, they'll take a swing a little bit too late and spare you of a hit. It's pretty good if you have none of the choices I mentioned. As for the new missions and caves, it'd be wrong of me not to point out the unbelievable performance of the Warp Pack in these caves. You can teleport through certain walls around the cave, giving you a ton of freedom within them. One notable teleport being as you go into the Stalker layers, you can just warp right through the wall by hugging one of the walls and teleporting away from them, essentially always guaranteeing you a free escape. Oftentimes you won't have the Warp Pack though, and that's okay. Keep in mind the cave almost never has dead ends. If you see a big opening, you can almost certainly go down that path. You're likely not going to be running into a brick wall or anything like that. If you do find yourself stuck and you see these red-like tentacles structures kind of blocking your way, keep in mind these can be destroyed and you can rotate through them. Also, one awesome surefire way to guarantee mega nest clears and any other important objectives within caves is the Emancipator exosuits. Just call them on the outside and bring it into the cave and you will breeze through most objectives and nests. What's also very interesting is that double backpack stratagems may finally be truly viable. Calling in a supply pack in an open space can yield you and your team tons of free supplies. And then you can just pick back up whatever other backpack you had in your primary slot, since you won't be requiring that many red or green stratagems anyways. I should also note that AoE damaging tools are of course always great, but in caves, they shine even harder. Gas grenades, incendiary grenades, flamethrowers and such are all fantastic inside of caves. And that's because of the constant choke point nature of the caves. It's also a pretty solid idea to use stun grenades in caves as well. And due to the choke points, you'll likely manage to stun full-on groups with a single grenade each time. Speaking of AoE tools, I should point out that the new expendable napalms are fantastic for these caves. Sure, you only get one shot out of each one of them, but these expendable napalms are pretty much like a pocket orbital napalm barrage. They are fantastic for clearing stationary units around objectives. Speaking of objectives, the Spore Lung mission, a lot of players think you need the portable hell bomb to beat the Spore Lung mission, but this is not the case. Just blast it away with high damaging weapons and you'll blow it up in no time. The Emancipator exosuit, for example, kills it very quickly. This next tip isn't cave specific, but I should point out that you can destroy a Titan hole without even going in front of it by shooting at the back of the rock with an ultimatum. And then by doing so, you destroy these without it ever spawning a Bile Titan or a Charger. Now let's take a look at the incredibly frustrating dragonroach. If you're dealing with a dragonroach, never fight it in water. There are several water segments around these missions that are a little bit too deep, and your character is both slowed and your character can also not dive, which means you won't be able to put out its fire when it spits on you. Always fight the dragonroaches on sand, or at the very least shallow water. The dragonroach can be one-shot by a few different heavy anti-tank weapons, especially if you hit the head with weapons such as the quasar, recoilless rifle, and such. But it is quite a difficult feat considering they move extremely fast. The Ultimatum is also another noteworthy weapon. I should bring it up because it can consistently one-shot dragonroaches. And yes, it is an even harder shot, but an extra tip is always wait until the dragon enters this hover state right here when it's about to go for a spew attack, and that's your window of opportunity right there to make the Ultimatum or any of the other weapons really work. And if you have a hard time hitting them, which is the case for many console players understandably, your best choices will be the Wasp Launcher, the Spear, or better yet, the Rail Cannon Strike. The Rail Cannon will one-shot it extremely easily without any effort. The Spear and Wasp Launcher though will take a bit to kill them, but it kind of all depends where the shots end up hitting in their body. It's also extremely life-saving to mention that using a Killzone armor set or the new Desert Stormer armor set is extremely important on these planets. This applies to both the Hive Lord and the dragonroach. Most of the Hive Lord's attacks are acid, but not just that, the dragonroaches also deal both acid and fire damage, not to mention the Rupture Spewers as well. By using these armor sets, it will save you a ton of damage and often spare you from getting those one shots from the dragons, which is a good segue to move over to the new boss type, the Hive Lord. The Hive Lord attacks are very telegraphed, and they only do a few set moves that once you pick up on them, you won't really struggle as nearly as much. First, there is the Vertical Strike. When you see the ground shaking like this for a few seconds, they're about to fly up into the sky like this. And on this vertical state, they're at their most vulnerable, and it's the best phase to DPS them. On this state, they'll then either slam down on you or spit on you, both of which you will benefit by strafing either far to the left or far to the right. And lastly, they move around the map underground, pushing you if you happen to be over them. And from time to time, they'll do one of these dives, but once again, just step out of their way and you will be fine. Which should be an obvious tip to say that the warp back is absolutely amazing against Hive Lords. A warp to the left or to the right will save you more times than I can count. So easy matter of fact that the real trouble just becomes the ads that surround it, not necessarily the Hive Lord itself. So bring something for those little guys as well. You can also attach a blue stratagem that can either be the resupply, a backpack stratagem, or a support weapon stratagem onto the Hive Lord by calling it down on it. Once it does land on its back, you will be able to track the Hive Lord's movements around the map, which is pretty great for hunting them down or more easily avoiding them. If you're trying to kill Hive Lords, use stratagems that deal sustainable damage over the course of 20 or so minutes. For example, Strafing Run is an amazing pick as you get 5 solid strafing runs and then have a very short 2-ish minute cooldown, and over a long period of time this adds up to a ton of damage. So a stratagem like the Rail Cannon Strike deals good damage, but it has a 3-minute cooldown, and over the course of say 15 to 20 minutes you're really not getting that much value out of it. So keep that in mind when considering stratagems to hunt down the Hive Lords. I also recommend focusing on an armor plate towards the bottom of their body, and you'll kind of know their health is decreasing by quite a bit as they'll start looking like they're cracking like this. And after you get through the armor, you can just start nuking the actual Hive Lord's health pool. If you're running solo, you'll be taking quite a while, but a solid team of 4 players with strafing runs will get through all of that armor in no time. The armor plates, also known as spines, have around 15,000 health, and for the sake of simplicity, when you deal damage to these armor sets and you break them, some of that damage transfers over onto the actual health of the Hive Lord as well. And after you get through that armor, you reach the Hive Lord's inner flesh, which only has a 2 light armor penetration value, so you can damage it with pretty much any weapon, but it does have a lot of explosive damage resistance. So after you're through with the armor, just continue nuking it with high projectile damage weapons such as the heavy machine gun, and you'll bring this guy down in no time. If you want just an overly simplified guaranteed way of killing them, essentially just throw a bunch of Eagle Strafing runs until it's dead. Realistically though, the Hive Lord is super fun to fight the first few times, but long term I believe they'll be treated by players much like the Leviathans, where we'll just kind of avoid them, as their purpose is really to just disrupt your team's progress, and the reward for killing them isn't quite there, which is a bit of a shame, except for of course the immense amount of democratic pride. So that's pretty much today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed that and learned something new. If you did, do leave a like. If you didn't, let me know in the comments. But thank you guys very much for watching, man. And with that, I will be catching you legends on the next one. Peace.